Welcome to class. Okay, great. So Adebayo says he wants to share. I just unmuted you, so you can unmute yourself, Adebayo. I think you can right now. I've unmuted you, but you're still muted, so you should be able to mute yourself, to unmute yourself, sorry. Right? Where's Adebayo? Oh, I think it's internet. Oh, it's here. Okay, so if Adebayo isn't going up, who else wants to? Anybody? I just want to get a feel of one or two people's. Let me just unmute. This is the reason why I didn't mute everybody. So, Adebayo, yes, you're muted now. So, can you just share what you expect, and then we kick off?
Well, hello,
please, can you move away from where you are? It's quiet.
Hello, can you?
I can barely hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay, so what do you want to say?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Adebayo.
All right, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Premier. I mean, liquid gas.
You're what? Gas. Liquid gas. Did you say liquid gas?
I mean, liquid gas vendor.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's a privilege to be here, and I'm looking forward to learn more and to have a new way or an understanding about how to move forward in life and business and other way to new opportunity in business life.
Beautiful.
So I
beautiful.
hope yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to mute everybody now and then run the class through. Hopefully, it'll be impactful. During which I'll be asking you to communicate with me via the chat section, right? I ask you to post something, and please do that when I do ask you to post. So again, my name is Ezekiel Sholisi. I run this company called Limsimple. It's an acronym for Life Investing Money and Business Made Simple. We're a Southwest Nigeria partner with the Institute of Management Specialists. We also run the Limsimple Business Academy, which houses the Strategy Factory. But as a consulting firm, we have worked with all of these organizations in helping them, provide strategy, training, capacity building. But more important to this conversation is that we work with over 2,400 entrepreneurs. We have 19 now, not just 17, 19 of our clients who do over $1 billion a year. Okay, so having said all of that, I just want to quickly run into this. One of the challenges that we find, in a year like this, and everybody sort of knows that this is an extraordinary year. 2020 has been such a year. I don't know if it's been like that for you. How many of us have been amazed at what has happened in 2020? Right? I want you to write me in the comment section if 2020 is a very unique year for you. Right? Let me see your comments. 2020, the start of a new decade. Great. I mean, it's been a significantly unique year, I should say. Not to say anything else, but one of the things that I always, of course, Purity. Well done. By the way, Purity's, she's Kenyan, and she's here all the way from Qatar. Thanks I know it's about 2 hours ahead there, so this is about 9:11 p.m. Thank you so much for being part of this class. Okay, so one of the first things I always like to tell people is don't forget what you wanted at the beginning of the year, which is, what a lot of people at this time have forgotten. That, a lot of people say things like, oh, don't worry, if you just stay alive this year, you'll be fine. And that is true. It'll be great to be alive by the end of this year, but it would be better to be alive and also have achieved something significant. Wouldn't that be nice? So your goal shouldn't just be to be alive, it should be to thrive, and in doing that, you need to remember what you really, really wanted at the beginning of the year. And it's usually categorized in different ways. Some people want, financial freedom, some people want to countryside, some people want peace of mind, some people want to build assets, some people want good health, some people want retirement, some people want good college education. Whichever one that you want, whichever one is the reason why you started business, it's valid. And the beautiful thing is this, right? For entrepreneurs, one of the things that we must realize is more money travels in chaos. More money travels in chaos than in any other time in human history. So as much as this has been quite a challenging year, it's really also been an amazing year for a lot of business people. I've had the privilege of having an amazing year, right? And the first place that it starts is in our mindset. It's in our ability to not throw the year away because it didn't start out or it's not going as we want it to go, right? So in this class, we're going to look at quite a number of things that you should do and quite a number of ways that you should analyze a business. But essentially what we're going to be doing is taking you and giving you the first module of an event that we call the Strategy Factory. So the first thing is to realize that COVID-19 happened for you and not to you. Now, believing that it happened to you means that you're the victim. Believing that it happened for you means that there is a bigger thing, like Purity said, that it's been a unique year because she's learned a lot, and that's amazing. It means that if you learned a lot, it means that the year is somewhat happening for you and not to you, right? So what I want to do is run us through the first module. It's right away. It's going to be really exciting. If you're here, you're running a business, you're about to start a business, your business is growing, your business is not growing, this module is going to be significantly amazing in helping you determine what your next steps should be, right? Okay, great. So those people who know me know that the things that how I teach, how I work with people, business owners and the likes, is by somewhat simplifying definitions, right? So I look at a concept and we define that concept and try and expand our understanding of that concept so it's easier for us to learn. So the Strategy Factory is essentially about business. So again, if we're going to be talking about business, the question would be, what is a business, isn't it? Right? Now, there are many definitions, many definitions. In fact, you know what? Let me not take much of our time because we don't have that much time to spare. But there are many definitions, but one of the best definitions I have found is from this book, right? It's called The Personal MBA. Fantastic book. You should go and read it. And he talks about the fact that a business is a repeatable process, and I underline repeatable process because that's very key. Because if it's not repeatable, guess what? It's not a business. If you cannot repeat, if it's not a process that can be repeatable, it's not a business, right? So number one, it's a repeatable process that number one creates and delivers something of value. So that's the first thing, value.
Oh, 8.
The second is that other people want or need, people must want or need it. 3, at a price they are willing to pay. Number 4, in a way that satisfies the needs, the customer's needs and expectations. Number 5, so that the business produces enough profits to make it worthwhile for the owner to continue operation, right? Very, very important. This This definition is very, very, very critical to how business works. Very critical. Very critical. Just give me a second. Okay, so if you want to understand how a business runs, this is the definition you need to take a look at, right? So we're going to spend the next 20, 25 minutes essentially explaining this definition so that you get a better understanding of it, right? Okay, so the first thing, remember, is that it's a repeatable process that creates and delivers something of value. So the first question is really value, because if you're doing business, your business has to be solving the problem, has to be providing some form of value, right? So if value is the case, the first question we need to ask is how valuable would your offering be post-COVID-19? So some of us, our business is good now, but or some of us started to see some form of an eroding of our business as the COVID-19 appeared, and we are looking into the future and we're asking, how am I going to be in business? Or some of us are trying to find what business to get into, and the question is, what kind of business should I pursue? This would answer that question, right? The first thing that you should note is that in every single business, a very, very key component of determining, what's working and what's not working is essentially population demography and the peculiarities of that population demography, right? They're usually very strong indicators of exactly what you should be doing or not doing. Very, very important, right? So I'm going to share with you essentially four ways you can verify the ideas that you have and see how whether you should pursue that idea or you should ditch that idea and go to something else, right? First of them is this: does it serve a huge expanding market? So a couple of years ago, somebody walks up to me and told me that they wanted to start a business. I said, what business? They said they wanted to start a recharge card business, right? So those of us who are in Nigeria might understand. Recharge card is where you sell call time. And I told her, this was about 3 years ago, and I said, don't ever get into that business at the moment. She says, why? I said, because that business is in its decline, all right? And the simple question I'd like to ask us now is, how many of us have stopped by the road to actually buy airtime, in the last 6 months? I haven't done that in, 3 or 4 years. Why? Because now the banks now own that market, right? And if you want to get into a business, you want to get into a business whose trajectory is on the rise, not the one that is already falling, right? Because if it's falling, and we're talking about the size of the industry here, if the size of the industry is falling, right, the amount of money that is available in that industry is consistently falling. So it doesn't matter how good you are in an industry that is already falling, guess what's going to happen? You're going to make less and less and less and less and less and less and less money. But if you're in an industry that is growing, if you look at what's happening now, industries that are growing, you find delivery, courier services, technology, agriculture. Those industries are growing. So if you are going to choose a business, guess what business you should choose? The one that is serving a huge expanding population, other than the one that is serving a depreciating population, right? Very, very, very important. So if you're thinking about what business should I be in, guess what? You should be in a business that is serving a huge expanding population, right? So for example, if you take Nigeria, why is digital marketing and social media growing? Because Nigeria has a very young population. We have about 85% of our people, between 18 and 35. And that's the energy, that's the people with energy, the people with grit. So you realize why some businesses are growing and some businesses are not growing. So the question I have for you now is that business idea you're pursuing or that business that you're growing, is it serving a huge expanding population or is it serving a depreciating population, right? 2, can it be turned into a unique product? Is there something that can be unique about it? And here, I'm not just talking about uniqueness in product, I'm talking about uniqueness in how you deliver your products. Right? Uniqueness in how you deliver your products. Because sometimes some people are not the first, because sometimes we're bogged too much with thinking about, oh, what's the first, what's the next big thing? No, you can find what already is and find a different way to put it. So let me give you an instance. How many of us here know about USSD banking, right? There's a concept called USSD banking, like *737# and the likes, right? How many of us here who live in Nigeria can tell me what bank started USSD banking? I want you to type it in the comment section. What bank started it? What bank started USSD banking? I want to take 2 or 3 suggestions before I move on. Okay, somebody said Wema, good. Anybody else? Somebody said GTB, good. Anybody else? I'd like to take 2 more. I like where this is going. Anybody else? Just type it in the comment section. Anybody else? Now, for those of us, most people, especially if you live in Nigeria, most people would say GTB. But the reality is that GTB was not the first, they were not even the second, right? Before GTB, First Bank came, and then you have Stanbic. But GTB came into the game, and then they brought a different angle to it, right? They asked themselves, who are the most important people to entice into this offer? And they looked at the population 18 to 35 and said, look, we're going to take the same product that already exists, and we're going to present it to these people in a way that they would accept it. So they developed a soundtrack and make it very hip, right? Because in real life, it's not who started that becomes the first, it's who got into the heart of the consumer first that becomes the first. And so that's how GT came up with their *737 song, and guess what? They got into our heart. So sometimes you might not be the actual first, but you can find a unique way to get into the market. Third is that is the product or that service in its time. So for example, there's technologies that are coming into the world, coming into our space now, but they're not in their time yet, right? We're not ready for them yet. There are businesses that we're not ready for. And when it's not in its time, sometimes you just have to wait. Sometimes if you start a business that is not in its time, you're usually started with the responsibility of educating the market. And sometimes when you educate the market, you might not have enough resources to be in business when the market is educated. A simple example is that a lot of us might know Facebook, but what we don't know is a company called Hi5 or MySpace. These 2 companies, of course, are added to preceding companies, educated the entire world about social networking. And then they couldn't stay long enough to reap the benefits of that education. So sometimes if you have enough resources, you can come in, educate the market and still be here. But if you don't have enough resources, you might want to do something like what Adenuga bought license for his telecoms company way longer before he started Glow. But the market wasn't ready for it yet. So he waited for the market. And then when the market was ready, he got in. And same with Apple. Apple has never been a pioneer in any product that they created. What they always do is that they wait for the market, and when the market is ready, they sweep in and create something in a unique way that the market has never seen before. So big question for you, is it in its time? And then lastly, will that idea or that business or that thing that you're pursuing, will it provide you with leverage? Leverage, very important. And leverage is an increased capacity in doing something. You know, so for example, it's like if you open a shop and you don't build it properly, the growth of that shop might kill you, because now you need to give it more time and more time and more time. So you don't really have a business. What you have is a shop, right? But the owner of ShopRite or the owner of massive malls are usually not sitting in the malls, but things are running, right? Because they build leverage. But more importantly, you know, in this post-COVID world, if you are somebody who's thinking about what business idea to do, you want to think about, you know, anything that helps people stay healthy, anything that makes people money, anything that keeps people connected, and anything that keeps people safe. So for example, what you would find is that hospitals and all of that and health technology companies are booming. Opportunities, business opportunities that enable people to make money, whether it is investment opportunities or income opportunities like network marketing and all those kind of stuff. You know, they are involved now because people are looking for how to make money, and even skills that help you make money. So people are teaching people how to do websites now, how to do copywriting, all that stuff. You know, so it's really, really, really powerful now, right? Social networking, technology companies that promote social networking, their valuation is going over the roof. But also you find that companies like, you know, that connect people, whether it's connecting people product-wise or service-wise or individual-wise. So product or service-wise, you find dispatch companies are making a lot of money now. And also people that keep people sane, inclusive of divorce lawyers, comedians, musicians are making a lot of money now, even though there's not much concerting. And there's not much concerts. People are buying, people are spending a lot. I know I've spent a lot of money buying music from Apple Music in this pandemic than I've ever done prior to the pandemic, right? So very, very, very important. So you need to think about all these things because they help you, right? As we move then, we're now moving into the next phase, which is how needed is your offering. What you're doing, is it needed every day or is it needed sparingly? And I'm not just talking about utility, whether it's expensive or cheap. I'm talking about the fact that whatever it is that you're providing, you need to make sure that the people who use your product use it very often, right? So even when you have a very good product, say like the iPhone, guess what? You create a cultish feeling and you give people a reason to want to upgrade their phone every single year, right? So that's why people who have an iPhone will always go to upgrade every single year. People want to upgrade their cars every single year. Why? Because they want to transform the product from just vintage, you know, sparingly used to everyday use. And as a business, you would do well if people use your product over and over again, or you would do well if you are in a business that people need regularly. Very, very important, right? And then remember, we also talked about at the price that they are willing to pay. So the question is, how willing are your customers to pay for your service? You know, and usually this, and we're going to be dealing a lot more about this at the Strategy Factory, where we're helping you to understand that sometimes your lack of sale is not that your product isn't good, it's just that you're marketing to the wrong people, right? So we're going to teach you how to market to the right people, what the right people require, and how you can market to them at any point in time, right? Very, 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 very important. And then also in a way that satisfies the consumer needs and expectations. So the question is, how satisfied is your customer? You know, how well are you consistently working to see that people get real value from your product or service, or are you just chilling, right? And lastly, how profitable is your business? This is very, very important when it comes to our business lives. So I'm going to have us do a quick activity. I'm grateful that we are able to really, really cut the time here. So if you are here, I want you to realize, see, wealth is measured in time and not in numbers. It doesn't matter how much you have. It matters how long it takes you, how long that resource can take you. So one of the first things that I want to do is to take us through a test, right? It's called the financial magic number test, where I'm going to help you calculate. We're not talking about your business expense. We're just talking about your personal expense. I want to help you calculate it. And after that, we will then ask some very critical questions about your business and see exactly where you stand, right? Please, if you're in this class and you're going to, now this next class, this next slide I'm about to show is so important, but I have found that a lot of people don't always follow through, right? But if you do follow through, it'll change your life. I'll tell you that for sure. It'll change every single thing about your life. It'll change the way you see your business. It'll change your life. So how many of us are going to commit to me right now that we're going to follow through? It's just a series of questions I would ask you. But you're going to be honest. You're going to ask yourself, please get a notepad, get a piece of notepad or a piece of paper and a pen. And I want you to type in the comment section and say, I will follow through. I want to see 3 or 4 of us say, I will follow through, and then I'll move to the next slide. You should have your notepad. I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes to do that. Get your notepad, get your pen, and then I want you to write, I will follow through. Let me give just 2 minutes. I'll play a song. I'll just give 2 minutes. I want to see as many people that will say they will follow through. I'm waiting for 3 more people to say they will follow through, and I'll move on to the next slide.
Gotta get up. You gotta get up and make a move.
Okay, beautiful.
Cause the world will never
2 more people.
see you till you do. No, they don't really care what you're going.
Okay, Benedict, great.
So you gotta show them, baby. You gotta show them the real you. You gotta give them what you got.
Good. Merci. Well done. Mojisola, beautiful. So this next class, this next phase of this class, in my opinion, is the most important phase of this class. So I want to help you see, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you essentially only run a business, you don't have a job and all that. I want to help you see what you cost your business personally, and then help you see how you can build your business to the point where you can earn massive amounts of money, right? So very, very important. So now, don't write anything. Every single thing that you're going to write, I'm going to explain it to you, right? So the first thing is that I want you to write rent. Most of us here pay rent in our lives for your houses and all of that. But usually we pay rent annually, most times. So I want you to write it. So let's assume your rent annually is, let's say, 600,000 naira, right? So I want you to divide that by 12, and that will give you 50,000. I want you to write the monthly figure, not the annual figure. So when you write rent, I want you to write the monthly figure. So divide that by 12 and write the monthly figure. When you've done that, I want you to write done. I want you to write rent done. When you have done that, rent done. So that I know that you guys are moving, right? I want you to write rent done. If we get 3 people who say rent done, we'll move on.
Why? You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why. And you can be perfect, baby. Cause nobody's perfect, darling. No, there's no
One more person. Beautiful. Fantastic. Okay, great. So once you've written rent, the next thing I want you to do is that I want you to write, the next one we're talking about now is transportation. Transportation is essentially, how much you spend if you have a car, if you fuel your car, if you don't have a car, what's your transportation budget? I want you to write that out. So if you have a car and you fuel it, that would be like, you figure out how to fuel it a week. So I want you to expand that into a month. So if you spend 5,000 naira a week, that would be about 20,000 a month. If you don't have a car and your transportation budget a day is about 1,000 naira, that would be about 30,000 naira a month, right? So I want you to write that, write that, and then once you're done with that, I want you to write transportation done. Right? Transportation, then I'm going to wait for 3 people. And by the way, I expect everybody else to write. So some of us have not written rent done. I expect that you do that. But now we're up to transportation. So please, I want you to write that. So write that out and then let's see how it goes.
And day by day, struggle in this world. You know you work hard. Just know that you're not alone. You don't always have to be strong all by yourself. I said it's okay to ask for help. People
Two more people.
where they don't define me. And you will find people who help redesign you. People will find you where they don't define me.
We're waiting for 2 more
And
people.
you will find people who help redesign you. You are a work of art, but you didn't think you'd come this far. Now here you are. Baby, you are strong. You are wise. You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why. And you can be perfect.
So let's, one more person now, and then we'll move. This is the most important part of this class. If you do this part, it'll change your life. I can guarantee you that.
You know that you can be perfect, baby. Nobody's perfect. I love you just the way that you are. I love you just the way that you are.
One more person. Okay, great. So the next is utilities. Now, most of us have different types of utilities, right? So we have light bill. No matter where you stay in the world, it's light bill. We have, some of us use cable TV. So how much does that cost you in a month? Gas, water, waste. So I want you to just write all those things out, and I want you to write how much it costs you in a month. Right? Every single thing, as much as you can remember, even if it's not on my, on my board. And once you're done, I want you to write utility done, right? If we have 2 people that confirm this, we'll move on to the next one. These are very, very important things. Very, very important things, right? Very important. So let's see how many people get the utilities done quickly.
Gotta get up. You gotta get up and make a move. 'Cause the world will never see you till you do. No, they don't really care what you're going through. So you gotta show, baby.
Beautiful. Utility done. Purity. One more person.
You gotta give them what you got. No, don't let them see what you're not, 'cause you are strong.
Okay, great.
You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons.
I hope the rest of us are doing it. So next is what I call feeding costs. Feeding costs is usually, I mean, again, in the pandemic, it might be a little, feeding cost was brought about when, some of us, work somewhere and live somewhere else. So when we go to work in the morning, we have somewhere that we take lunch, right? Whatever that is, scale it up by 25 days. That will give you what the feeding cost. So this feeding cost is not like food stuff you buy in your house, right? We'll get to that in a minute, right? So I want you to just write that out. That shouldn't take so long to be able to figure out. So just write that. It's usually a very small budget for most people. Then once you do that, I want you to write feeding done, and so I can quickly go to groceries and all the other things. We have just 19 more minutes to go, and once we're done with this, we still have a bit to cover, just a little bit to cover. Beautiful, great. Don't forget, you're scaling all these things up per month. What you estimate that you would spend per month. Thanks, Benedict, for doing, yeah, Bennett, sorry, not Benedict, Bennett, sorry. Okay, great. So the next is groceries. Groceries is sort of like what you spend in the house, food stuff, I mean, toiletries and all that stuff that you buy, that you spend in the house, right? That you spend money for at home. So if maybe you buy food stuff monthly, if you don't buy monthly, scale it up for a month. It's usually a bit of a sizable budget. All of the things that you buy in the house. I want you to write that out, and then I want you to write groceries done. 2 people with groceries done, and we'll move on to the next one, right?
And you can be perfect, baby, because nobody's perfect, darling. No, there's nobody in the world.
Fantastic. Thanks, Purity. One more person.
What do you do when you can't let go? What do you say when you just don't know how you feel? And nobody knows how you feel. Cause everybody's got their own damn problem. So everybody's trying to find their way. And
Beautiful.
day by day is the struggle in this world.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks, Bennett. So the next is school fees. Now, school fees is a little tricky. Some of us here don't have kids yet. But if you have kids and your children are not yet in the university, it means that you pay school fees 3 times a year, right? So what I'm going to ask you to do is that I'm going to ask you to add all 3 times together and divide by 12 so that we know how much is. So when you go out every month, you know how much school fees is what. Of course, you do that for all your kids. So let's assume school fees, you pay, I don't know, 100,000 in the first term, you pay 160 in the second term, and maybe you pay 180 in the third term. If you add all 3 together, this is 340, this is 440. So if you divide that by 12, that would give you, if my math serves me right, that would give you 37,000 thereabouts. So that's what you're going to put. Of course, if you have 3 children, so that would be 37 times 3, and that would be 110,000 thereabouts. So that would be monthly, right? Just so that you figure that one out. But once you're done, I want you to write, if of course, if you don't have kids and you're not spending any money on yourself in some education capacity, you could just write education done or skipped, whichever one that serves you right. So let's quickly rush through that.
Just know that you're not alone. You don't always have to be strong all by yourself. I said it's okay to ask for help.
Thanks, Purity. Thanks. I need 2 more people.
And you will find people who help redesign you. People who find you, but they don't define you. And you will find people who help redesign you. You are a work of art, but you didn't think you'd come this far. Now here you are. Baby, you are strong. You are wise. You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why.
Okay, great. One more person. One more person.
No, there's nobody in the world like you.
One more person.
You know that you can be perfect, baby. Nobody's perfect, I love you just the way that you are.
One more person. Where are my people that are doing their work? Okay, so for those of us that are done, next is personal expense. So if you, how much you spend on yourself, for ladies, it's pretty defined. Manicure, pedicure, all that kind of stuff. How much do you spend on yourself? And then I also want you to add in quick succession childcare expense if you do have children. Not a lot of us here have children, but if you do, how much do you spend on your children that is not school fees, right? So you want to quickly put that up. And I hope the rest of us are doing this. Usually people get afraid as they're doing this and they stop. But please don't let that be you, because what's going to happen next, the next 2 or 3 slides are really, really going to be very, very defining for you, right? Okay, great. So somebody's saying hello. I'd like to understand what you mean. Oh, you just joined the class. Oh, sorry, you're really, really late. Fortunately for you, I don't know your names, Huawei rather. This class is recorded, so essentially just chill, sit back and sort of figure out, try and understand. But after the class, I will post the recorded version on the class. So you would get it where you're 48 minutes late. So it's understandable if you don't understand what is going on here, right? Just chill, and you might get it and you might not, but you will get it when you get the full recorded version. So those of us that are done with personal expense and child expense, I want you to write, personal expense done, child expense done, just so that I know that I have at least 1 or 2 people that are following, and then we can quickly move to the next. And after that, we'll take the next 3 things at the same time, and then I'll move on to the next slide. Right? So waiting for you guys to notify me that you've done that. Beautiful. How about childcare expense? You've done that, just done that. Smooth. Thank you.
So you gotta show, baby.
Yeah, thank you.
You gotta show.
Can you send me your name? I don't have your name.
You gotta give them what you got. No, don't let them say what you're not, 'cause you
Miriam, okay, great. Thanks, Miriam. So you can also help us edit your name so that we can see it.
And you can be perfect.
Okay, great. So those of us that are done with personal expense, I want you to add up, of course, communication. How much do you spend on airtime? How much do you spend on data? How much do you give in a month? The different types of giving. And I want you to add up all the other expenses, any other thing that you think I haven't covered. And when you're done with everything, I want you to write all done. So once I know that you're all done, we can finish up the activity, and then I'll move on to the next slide. I'll give you about 2 minutes to figure that out, and then we'll move on.
What do you do when you can't let go? What do you say when you just don't know how you feel? And nobody knows how you feel. 'Cause everybody's got their own damn problem. So everybody's trying to find their way. And day by day is a struggle. In this world, you want to hustle. Just know that you're not alone. You don't always have to be strong.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
I said it's okay to ask for help. People will find you where they don't define you. And you will find people who will criticize you. People will find you where they don't define you. You will find people who will criticize you. I'll work hard, but you didn't think you'd come this far. Now here you
Okay, one more person.
beyond 1,000 reasons why. Ain't girl perfect, baby, 'cause nobody's perfect, darling. But no, there's nobody in the world like you.
So if you're done with everything, I want you to add it all up together. Add it all up together, and you don't have to write the figure, just add it all up together so you're looking at the figure right in front of you. When you add it up, then the next question I want to ask you is this. If you've added it up, the question you should ask yourself is, does your business pay you that amount as a salary? If it doesn't pay you, then you're in trouble. That means that you're stealing from your business. But that's not the biggest question. The biggest question really is how big your business needs to get to be able to get 20 people to earn that kind of income every month from your business. Because really, if we all want to really grow if we really want to be big, like grow something really big, we have to think about not just our own survival, not just our ability to thrive, but also the ability for us to grow a team of people who would survive, who would thrive, you know, so that we can push them, I mean literally push them to actually make sure that they do what they must. And when they do it, so that they can also earn commensurate to whatever it is that, help them earn big incomes, you know. So if you don't help them and if you don't work with them to earn big, and they really get good, I'm talking about those that wouldn't work and wouldn't get good, but those that really get good would have to leave. They'd have to go somewhere else because you're not providing opportunity for growth for them, right? And so, again, we're not sure when life will return to normal. Some of it is returning already. But I'd like to work with you, for those of us, not a lot of us, but just a few of us. Fortunately, over the last couple of months, we've done the Strategy Factory virtually, and usually 2 days. And we've had a really good experience. We've had 2 months ago, we had 66 people from 5 different countries. We had from Zimbabwe, we had from Angola, from Kenya, from Rwanda, from Nigeria, and from Ghana. Ghana. And then last month we had from 5 countries also. We had from Canada, from Qatar, 44 people, by the way, last month. From Canada, from Qatar, from Nigeria, of course. We had from Zimbabwe again, and we had from from the US, I think from the UK, sorry. From the UK. Those are the 5 countries that we had last month, right? So if you are looking for an opportunity to grow your business, these are the modules. We have about 8 modules cut across tons of topics. Topics are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42 freaking topics. So we try to cover as much as you would need to grow your business. 42 topics across 8 different modules to be able to help you actually grow your business, right? And for those of us who want to join in Naira, the Strategy Factory actually is a 70,000 Naira class, but we sort of halved it down to 35,000, and you get all of these privileges: access to the Strategy Factory, full online course. You get access to the community, access to the manual, access to some ebooks to help you grow your knowledge, and then you'd also get an opportunity to be added to our community of alumni from different parts of the world, right? Now, for those of us who are interested, you could send a message to this number. You would be, if you do, you'll be talking to Vivian. Or you could, if you're in the WhatsApp group, if you got this from the WhatsApp group, you could write interested in the WhatsApp group so that somebody can talk to you. And we'll be able to follow up with you to see how that goes, right? Okay, so I hope the class has been good. I'm trying to make sure that we don't stay beyond 8 o'clock. I'm going to unmute us all now so that I can take questions. Anybody who has questions, please ask your question, and I'll take as much as the next 5-10 minutes allows us, and we'll take it up from there, right? So I'll unmute us now. Please make sure you're in a quiet place, and you can ask your questions. Anybody who has questions to ask, please. Please, if your background is noisy, I'll mute you, please, just so that we can keep the. Purity, do you have a question?
No.
Okay, great. Did you finish the activity? When you were done, the number you were looking at, was it shocking to you?
It's too big that I'm shocked. I don't believe it.
What did you say?
I'm saying the digit is too big that I didn't believe it. I'm still shocked.
You didn't know that you were spending that much in a month, is it?
No, I didn't know, because usually I don't calculate, I just give.
Exactly. It's very important that we know this thing so that it can inform, because sometimes you just don't know where all the money goes to. But now you do,
Yeah.
So it'll inform how you do, how you work harder. I mean, how you work harder on your business. I'm sure you're really resolved now to really work harder on your business, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, no worries. Anybody else have a question? Tabitha, do you have a question? I can't hear you. It's like you're trying to say something, but I really can't. Okay, no questions. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really grateful for your time. It's 1 hour of your time, and I don't take it for granted. I hope the class was useful for you, at least for anything. I hope you understand and maybe have a renewed desire to want to build a big business now. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of us at the Strategy Factory. It's going to be next month, on the 30th and 31st of October. Next month, we're going to send you all the details, and then again, this class is recorded, so it's going to be in the group within the next hour, and you get the opportunity to watch it over and over again, right? Thank you so much. I'd like to make sure that we end at 8 o'clock on the dot, so that we don't take too much of your time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And do have a great evening. See you in the group, right? Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
You gotta show them the real you. You gotta give them what you got.